and welcome. You are listening to At Home with Ifenu. Here, we'll talk about helping women know and understand their worth, find fulfillment in who they are, and in what they do. Every other week, we'll talk about your identity as a woman, discovering your unique purpose, intentionally raising the next generation, and your influence in homemaking. I am your host, Ifoma Nneka Omoni. Hello, and welcome to At Home with Ifeno. Every day is ticking. What are you doing with your time? Your time has to be used and invested wisely. You need to be intentional because you know what? Before you hear, the next episode or so, you might be wondering, where did all the time come and go? What have I been doing? But I just want you to relax. Don't beat yourself too hard. Today's show promises to be enlightening, rewarding, inspiring, spurring you to move to the next level that will make your life better. So I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the time it is where you reside from the world. You are welcome to At Home with Ifeno. Today I have with me an amazing guest. Yes, she's amazing. And she's very passionate about helping people to improve themselves, to be the best versions of themselves. But beyond that, she also helps to bring a beautiful relationship between parents and children. She believes that for the children to thrive, to do well, the focus should be on parents. I know some of us will be like, on me? Yes. So let's go into today's focus for At Home with Ifeno. Before I tell us our topic, I want to introduce my coach, or I just want to give her a warm welcome. So please put your hands together with me as we welcome Coach Nwadiuto to At Home with Ifeno. You're welcome, ma.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. How are you doing?
Glad. I'm very fine, ma. I'm so glad to have you on At Home with Ifeno. Coach Nwadiuto didn't give me, anything difficult about reaching out to her. I just asked, and I received a positive response. So you are welcome, and we really appreciate your prompt response to our call on At Home with Ifeno. I know you do a lot of work, Coach Nwa, but is there any tip you can share with us in our very busy world today? How do you relax? How do you take off the stress of, your body and everything you do? Because it takes a lot of energy to coach, to speak to people day in, day out. So could you share with us your relaxation tips? What do you do to ease the tension, ma?
There are several things I do, and really it could be being a parent for one is even a very, very serious task, round the clock. But then when you now have several other things that needs your time, needs your strength and your energy, there are several things I do. But one that I will easily share that we underrate a lot will be breathing. So just breathe. It's amazing that when we catch ourselves and we really take those, I call it deep, delicious breaths, all the way deep down from our abdomen. And when we take it in and we let it out, it relaxes us and calms us so much, such that it's like, have I been breathing? You ask yourself, this is so refreshing. Why have I not been doing this so often? So within my day, I catch myself and just say, breathe. So besides the many other things that I do to relax, but breathing is one thing in particular that I know that calms me a lot and relaxes me a lot for me to go into the next thing that I need to do.
Thank you. Very simple. And as she said, it might be something that many of us overlook and don't take We don't take cognizance of. So she's saying that we should breathe, as in that deep breath. And it has something like that has happened to me. There was one day I was like, I just sat down on my bed. I haven't worked and done so many things in the house. And as I sat down on my bed, I just said, ah. And I was like, then the next thought that came to my mind was, God, when will I, when will I have more of this breathing? So it
I
now
can
means from what
imagine.
she has said, I need to be intentional with it. I should not wait until I'm almost collapsing, before I catch my breath. Thank you for that very simple but important relaxation tip. So our topic for today is the purpose of parenting. The purpose of parenting. There's this popular quote. I know some people, before I even say it, they are going to, finish that statement before I finish. And it says, where the purpose of something is not known, abuse is inevitable. So, what is the purpose of parenting? How can our listeners know that for them to parent right, for them not to be abusive in parenting, then we need to know the purpose. What is the purpose of parenting?
Parenting is how God just made the earth, made people in it, and then sat down and was like, how do I ensure that everybody does what they are meant to do, gets to where it is I intend for them to get to in life, meaning living a purposeful, fulfilled life? I think I should break them up into little pockets and just call them family and put some people at the top of it and say, see, just keep guiding these people, generation to generation, keep passing it down over and over, and help guide these people to where it is that they are meant to be. So that, in a nutshell, sums up to me what I think parenting is. And then somebody will be fast to say that, but some people didn't have parents. Some people's parents were not the best of parents. Some didn't even have at all. Before we even jump to even saying that, at least that person had someone that was like a form of authority over that person, whoever it is. Whoever, it can even be the government in some cases, that is in charge of that baby or that child as the child is born. But whatever the case is, I just feel that in a nutshell, parenting is a journey. It is not a destination. There is never a time we get to a point where we are like, oh, we are done with this. Because I can hit my chest and say, I'm so sure my mom prayed for me this morning, and she prayed for her grandchildren this morning. I can be so certain about that. And then there are some times also that I just call her, even if it's just to keep in touch. There is always that little nuggets from time to time that we keep getting. She's not done with parenting. Yes, she might not be really doing the whole nurturing and the whole guiding and all of that, but there is still a little bit of support from here to there with the parenting, even though we are done, as we have left their houses and we formed our own houses and our families. Parenting is a journey that involves nurturing, it involves guiding, it involves supporting, putting this framework in place to help the children or the ones that are under us, whether you're a guardian or you're a parent, to help them, to provide is the word enabling, but a beautiful environment, where these children can actually grow, thrive, and become better versions of themselves and fulfilling purpose, becoming who it is that they have been created to be. That, in my opinion, is what parenting is. So we are to create this framework. We are to guide, we are to support, we are to nurture, guide them to growth, to become who it is that they are meant to be. That should be like a summary of what I think parenting should be.
And you've said even in your definition of what parenting is, you've said the purpose. So the purpose is to guide, a child, someone younger than the parents, definitely, to give a framework, support, and to nurture, that individual, so that individual can become all that God has destined for that person to be. Perhaps a listener is listening and saying, I really don't know how to parent. As in, you've said so many things. What of if I'm confused? Maybe someone that even had a child unprepared, and the person is like, so how do I navigate my pain or disappointment on how I just had a child, I didn't prepare? Or even if I got married and I just followed the norm that at a particular age I should get married, and automatically, before you know what, I'm pregnant. But that individual doesn't know what it means to guide, because they feel that even their own personal lives, they are still struggling to guide themselves. What will you say to that person that is in a state of confusion about parenting another person in the proper way?
I'll say to you, I don't think there's anybody that had a child that was like, I'm ready for this. I don't think there is anybody, because that child is their own person, and then they begin to show you in a way who they are. Even though they picked it from the environment that they have been placed in, but they are now when they begin to be their own person, you're like, what's this that I'm seeing? Who is this somebody? She used to be quiet. What's this thing now? We don't know, especially with our first children. I'm sure you've heard before, and many of us to listen might have heard before, that the first child is like the experiment.
Yeah.
And it's sad, but then it's the truth. We don't. Nobody has a degree or a what's it called? Years of experience in parenting the first child. I come from a family of 9 children. I'm number 4. So you can see the other nations that came after me. I firsthand, minus my immediate younger one, I can boldly say that I carried the other ones and took care of them, assisting my mom, sort of. But that was not even enough preparation for what was about to hit me. And was I ready for it? Yes. The baby didn't even come immediately after marriage. But it's not, no one is really prepared for it. And I will say, we cannot give what we do not have, in the sense that if we are hurting, if we are overwhelmed, if we feel like, see, I need to get my own self together. I'm not in a place or in the headspace where I can take care of somebody else. You need to find a time where you can heal. Try as much as possible, because that child or the children that you have are totally dependent on you. And I know that there might even be cases where the family have just split up. The mother, the mom is left with the children, or the dad is left with the children. And they don't even have time to mourn this marriage that has just split. So you are there firsthand. You are meant to be nurturing the child and trying to tell them that things will be fine while you are also in pain. It's rather unfortunate that is the reality of how life is. And it is necessary that we find little pockets of time, even in that way that we are feeling, to still give a little bit of nurture to that child. A smile goes a long way. A hug goes a long way. A pat on the back goes a long way. One positive word from time to time goes a long way. And I will say to you, please find a place where you can heal. Get help for yourself so that you can be the best parent to that child. And if it is nothing serious that has happened, you are just overwhelmed and you don't know what to do, get yourself a support system. Nobody, honestly, I will tell you firsthand. Yes, I'm a parenting coach. I will tell you firsthand. Nobody has a degree to parenting. We are learning as we go. We just have a system in place that we deploy from time to time. So everyone is learning and tailoring things to how their family is, or to the responses they are just responding to the things that they see. So I will say to you, get yourself a support system. There are people around you who have done it before, and they can always encourage you along the line as you go. You're doing a good job. Well done.
Wow. Like the saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. And in this present age or day, some people feel that saying does not really count also, because it's like everybody is minding their business.
Exactly.
Even if a next door neighbor wants to correct a child, the parents of that child might not receive it in that way, might like, please mind your
Exactly.
business. But Coach Nwa is telling us that parenting is a school of discovery. That was because I'm taking notes as she's speaking. It's a school of discovery that no matter how even she as a parenting coach has read, has gone for courses, that you still learn on the job as you are going on this journey and school of discovery. Remember, she said it's not a destination, so it's a continuous journey. And she said something that these children keep evolving. So you might have a toddler that seems to be quiet, and then suddenly that toddler that toddler becomes some, I won't call it talkative, but now comes up
Let's
with
use
another,
expressive.
yes,
Becomes very
expressive.
expressive.
Yes, so you're wondering that where did this come from? So it's what I get from what she just shared is that we need to have an open heart, and we need to involve people when maybe we feel overwhelmed. It's not something that we should carry on our shoulders alone. She talked about healing for those that are hurting, so that we don't transfer that hurt to the child that we're supposed to nurture and guide. Thank you so much for that response, ma'am. So how do we as parents, because you said we should know how to navigate parenting. Nobody knows it all. How do we now balance discipline and boundaries in parenting? So I'll use myself as an example in what I'm trying to say. So now I have told my children that if they don't make their beds when they wake up in the morning, they are going to be asked to go back, or I say before they watch any of their programs on TV, their rooms must be in order. And then I get to a point where this occurrence keeps coming up, so I keep talking about their bed or their room not being tidied, and it just seems like they are not listening, or they are not hearing what I'm saying. And I get to that point where I'm like, what is really going on? So how can we know how to set those boundaries, instill discipline or consequences for maybe actions that children take, and not get frustrated as a parent?
I like how you said, until you get to that point that you're wondering, are these children not listening? Now that is the point. That's the point where the transformation and change takes place. Because you've been doing the same thing over and over again. And Einstein says that doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is his definition of insanity. So you have noticed that this bed, every day I'm saying the same thing. Why are they not putting it together? I've even put consequences in place. Still, they are not doing what they are supposed to do. Then it means that there's something else. So you've realized that it's not working. So we change it. We switch it up. So we now want to ask them, really, what is it that this thing that makes you just wake up and jump out? Where are you hurrying to? And you might hear responses like, I just want to hug you. Or I remembered my toy car. I just wanted to pick it up. Mommy, I just wanted to watch TV. Or I was hungry. Oh, I forgot. It can be anything, actually. So now we want to say, okay, so when you've jumped out and you've done all of that, do you think you will still remember to go back to dress the bed? And then there's breakfast, there's this, there's that, I forget, So we want to now sit down and talk about it. So we find out by asking questions. And we don't ask closed questions. We ask open-ended questions. When we ask questions, what we do is that we help the children think. They think and they digest. So they are not just having instructions thrown at them. Make your bed. If you don't make your bed, no TV. If you don't make your bed, no breakfast. If you don't make your bed, this. If you don't make your bed, that. We make them think, and it goes in more when they think. So open-ended questions are questions that the response will not be yes and no. Open questions help the person you are asking to think. So you don't want to start your question saying, is it, did you, are you? When you start with those words, the answer will end yes or no.
Oh, no.
But when you start, can you share with me the reason why you don't enjoy dressing your bed? That now the child will pause. The child will pause for a bit. You might get I don't know. I said, think about it for a little bit. I'm curious. I want to know. Because I just think by now it should be second nature that as you wake up, you should just dress it, straighten it. It's nothing serious. So I want to really know what the problem is. Is it that you don't enjoy making it? Is it that the bed sheet is too large for your tiny hands? What is it exactly? So you ask them these questions and they will pause to think. Because now they know that you are not judging, you are not pushing, you are not about to go down on them. You are patient in a loving way, wanting to know. They've thought about it for a bit. Tomorrow, then you can also share how it makes you feel. Not angry, nothing, but you just say, it just makes me feel sad that you just wake up and I've been saying this for a while and you don't do it. That's why I really want to know. Mommy is sad. So if they are younger, they don't want to make mommy sad. If they are older, teenagers, mommy, you better put yourself together. So most times just questioning them helps. Then when we hear discipline, most times as parents, or even in this part of the world, when we hear discipline, punishment is the first thing that comes to our head. Punish the child. But I am on a mission, in quotes, to change that belief. I'm trying to let us reprogram our minds to see discipline more as the reason why we need discipline is there's something lacking, right? Discipline involves teaching, not punishing. So something is not happening. It means something is lacking. You've been saying it over and over again. The child has still not learnt it. So that's where the questioning that I suggested comes into play. You want to teach it. We don't want to say kneel down and face the wall. After I've knelt down and faced the wall, tomorrow will I wake up and dress the bed? Not necessarily. If maybe I might wake up and dress it because of the fear of having to kneel down and raise up my hand. But is that a long-lasting solution? It is not. So you will find yourself another time restructuring that punishment. You will wash the toilet for 1 week. Okay. So sometimes we just feel that we should punish this child. What discipline is teaching. And we just feel that punishment is the shortcut to teaching. We are not patient enough to instill this knowledge in the child, and then we just face the wall. I've never seen where facing the wall really solves the problem. I'm yet to understand how we came about this facing the wall punishment. Because all it is that the child just wants to move, and we are restricting the child from moving. So the child will obey at that point in time. Tomorrow the child is back to doing that again. The knowledge you want to instill has really not been instilled. So what's the essence of facing the wall? And guess what? Something else that I've found out over time, especially with adults now, working with adults, and when you go back, when someone has trauma and then you are going back, when they say go to your room, for a child whose love language happens, I try hard not to bother around love language because with time sometimes it's like restricts us. So this is my love language, so I should be, it's restricting sometimes. But for this scenario, I want to look at that scenario where you tell somebody, face the wall or go to your room, where this person's love language is quality time. And then you have told the person to go to his room. You are killing that child instead of empowering that child. So when we spank in the name of discipline, and that child's love language is physical touch, that child grows up. When you see most people that stay in abusive homes or relationships, you will hear things like, he loves me, that's why he's beating me. I'm sure you would have heard beautiful. This I've seen this in 2 occasions. On 2 different occasions, this child was beaten and battered as a child. This grown-up now was beaten and battered as a child. And you hear the parents say things like, I'm beating you because I love you. Yes. I don't want you to go astray. This child grows up and begins to believe that until you beat me, you don't love me. So when the child then this adult now is being beaten, it means that, I'm loved. And that person stays in that abusive relationship for as long as, so there are and I'm not saying that everybody that stays in an abusive relationship was beaten when they were younger. I'm just trying to say that this was my findings from working with these 2 different people that I worked with. I was able to draw that inference. So when we think of discipline, let's focus more on teaching. The child has done something wrong. Let's teach what we want to instill in this child. Is it that the child has not learned the values that are acceptable in your home or in the society at large? Then teach it. Instill it in the child before we now bring up consequences. And then when we speak of consequences, it's talking to, if you don't do this thing, then this consequence will come to play. If you, let's use the dressing of bed again as an illustration. If you don't make your bed, then just like you shared, you won't watch your favorite TV program, right? So that is a consequence. When they are younger, it's okay for you to come up with the consequence. But when they are older, we should sit down and discuss the consequence together.
There should be an agreement.
Yes, there should be an agreement as to what this consequence should be. But then that's always we want to ensure that we are in charge of the consequence. Example, if a child says, if I don't do this, then I will do the dishes for 1 week. You are not the owner of the hand that will do the dishes. If that child say his belly is paining him that day and he cannot stand and be doing dishes, will you go and force the child? We are not witches. We are not witches and wizards. We are parents. So you cannot force the child to go and serve his consequence. So in that scenario, you are not in charge 100. So you want to focus on things like, okay, you wouldn't use your device, especially if they are older teenagers. Or there will be no device for you for so and so time. You're going to miss your football practice, something they love, that it is you that will take the child there. The child cannot just get up and go. Device is you that bought it, you can take it. Data on their device is you that supplies the data. Transportation to school is you that is bringing the funds. If school is not so far, you will walk to school for 1 week. And it should be something that you are okay with. You are okay with it, and you are the one providing it 100. You are in control of what that consequence is 100%. But let's not omit the fact that we are meant to be teaching first. Teach, and teach. We should not get tired of teaching. That's our major job. Parenting is equal to teaching, I would say. We keep teaching from when they are born till when they leave your home. We are yet teaching. So we shouldn't get tired of instilling knowledge and of instilling values in our children. So the balance between, you said discipline and boundaries. It requires a delicate. This blend is a dance, is a how do I explain it? It's a smooth dance to know when to deploy what at every point in time. So we should know how to be, and it should be done with love. I will say a lot of love. So when you are doing something in love, I don't see you carrying one bankere to want to flog somebody in the name of that I love you. Then I will ask parents. Most times whenever I'm saying these things, you need to see the faces of parents whenever I start. It's as if, but we were flogged, we were punished, we were this. And I say, tell me how wonderful you are doing in your life. I want to know.
And they say that we turned out right.
That is it now. And I always like it. They fall into the trap always. And I will say, who is willing for me to zone into you right now? You know? And they're like, And then somebody will raise his hand and say, yes, I like your boldness. By the time I zone in, you'll find out that this parent is a yeller. And this parent can yell for Africa. This parent, little thing, the child pour water on the floor, you're triggered. Why? It's a child, it's a 2-year-old somebody. Even you as an adult, you used to pour water on the floor. Why is it triggering you? There is something about that water on the floor that is triggering you. And by the time we go deeper, you will find out that that man that feels like he's doing okay, was beaten black and blue for very silly mistakes that he made as a child. And now he's doing the same thing. And when you ask, how are your employers or your subordinates at work also doing? He's yelling there also. You know, and all of that. Easily angered, easily pushed. And then you think you are doing fine. So will you still say to yourself that you are doing okay? And this is the same thing. We have given birth to generations of dysfunctional people. We keep going on and on, passing the baton from one generation to generation. So it's necessary that we learn how to be more patient. They are just children. We have over how many years of experience at life? Those listening, for you to be a parent, maybe you are 20, in your 20s, you are in your 30s, 40s, 50s. Look at the number of years of experience you have at life. And then this child that is 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15. Compare your years of experience and you expect that they should begin to reason like you, do things like you. Is not possible. They need to be trained. They need to be taught. So we need to spend time rather teaching them the things that we need them to know so that they could be better humans on earth.
Wow, this particular part is so searching. It's a soul searching time. and I saw it like she said, we are passing it on. It has now become a cycle. It has now become as in, and we are feeling that it's the norm. That's how it's supposed to be. Coach Nwa has come to tell us to. Another thing that she said was about our mindset, our thinking. And I know that this thinking thing, is something that many of us don't like doing. We like acting on impulse, and we are passing it on to our children. It's like they don't think before they start even giving you a response. They just answer like that, or it's when you finish acting, you now come back to start thinking, what did I actually just do? So it's a soul-searching time for us today on At Home with Ifeno. We need to get our parenting right. That's why we are having the problems, the challenges, the things we are seeing in our world today. I always say this to myself. It all begins from home. Anything you are looking at outside, it starts from home. And when it is starting from home, it starts from our parents. Or we parents, like Coach Nwa believes. She believes that for us to have children that will do well, that will be better than us, then we need to focus on ourselves because we are mirroring who they are going to become. Thank you so much for your response. Thank you, Ma. So there is something I have observed, and my observation is that when children are young, still at home, there seems to be a connection between children and parents. There seems to be this cordial relationship, they're on a good page and things seem to go well. But I find out that by the time the children, maybe they're leaving I don't want to even bring secondary school, they are still young. So let me just say, by the time the children are leaving home, going into the university, then there seems to be a disconnection between parents and children. So let me paint a scenario. So now I am in the university. My parents don't know what I'm doing, where I am. Occasionally, they come to visit me, and things like that. And the values they have instilled in me back at home, I don't hold dear to my heart, or I don't follow them as I'm in the university. So it now looks like the child is living two lives, one back at school and one back at home. How can you encourage or enlighten parents to cultivate a healthy relationship with their children that will be a strong lifelong connection with each other, irrespective of whether they are together or they are distant? What will you say to us parents, reminding us that it actually focuses on us in parenting?
Wow. Thanks a lot for that question. This thing, when I have a client that is of course, the parents will contact, and then it's the teenager they need me to work with. And when you hear some of the things there was this particular client that I was like, come on now. I'm loving this type of relationship, and when the child says some things, I'm like, you told your mom this? She was like, oh yes, she knows. She was the one that even suggested that I should rather try this or do this, and I'm like, man, for this child to be this close to the parents, the mother knew every step-by-step information. It's just that mentally she wasn't ready for what it was that they sent her to go do. But then that was why she needed to see a therapist. That she needed to see me. But the relationship they had, in my head, I just ticked a box and I said, come on, I think I want this relationship. I think I crave this type of relationship when my children are older and they are.
Is this child above teenage age? Sorry, just to have an idea.
This child she's 18. This child is 18. Going to be 19 pretty soon. So this child is old enough, very soon.
Yes,
she's an adult.
Yes,
an adult. Yeah. But still, the connection, the communication, it was very, and I loved it. I really did love it. And I've seen several other scenarios like that I'm like, when you hear a younger teenager saying, the Holy Spirit, and I say, don't you shit down. I say, oh, my mom. He said my mom, like, I said, okay. I'm ticking these boxes, everything you see, you hear, you are ticking it. And most times we have this phrase that everybody says these days, intentional. Be an intentional parent. It's beginning to lose its source. It's beginning to lose its efficacy, the meaning that it has in it. Because I'm always moved to ask, what are you intentional about really? When you say you are being intentional, you're intentional about what exactly? Because the key to any form of relationship, we will say it is communication. It is not different when it comes to parenting. Communication is the bedrock of any form of relationship at all. Whether it is marital, whether it is employee-employer, whether it is with your domestic staff, same with your children. We need to learn to communicate. What we see happen these days is that we are giving instruction, we are majorly dishing out instructions than communicate with our children. Go to so and do this and this. Don't forget to no. In our mind, we've communicated. So how was that this thing that you went for? I hope you did not go there to go and be. I want to be. In our mind, we've communicated. That's not a communication something. That is not a form of, in any way, I don't see that as being communication in any form. And I want to take us back to when our children started learning to speak and how they will babble and then we are responding. We do not know what they are saying. They are not, whether they are saying something self, we don't know. But when they do that, we will respond, oh, you like it, right? Or we are speaking back at them. We are communicating, having a full-blown conversation without any of us understanding the other party. But when they grow older and they are able to really express themselves, either we get to that phase where we are saying, can you just be quiet for a bit? Mommy is trying to focus, or daddy is trying to do this. Can you just please be quiet? You've been talking since morning. Can you relax a bit? We shut them up. Then when they now grow older, because the major issue I've heard between parents and their teens, he doesn't say anything to me. She does not share anything. She keeps it to herself. She's in that her room from morning till night. And I will remind the parents, can you remember when you told this child to be quiet? This child now is quiet. So the window we have to build this communication is when they are younger and they tell us everything. No holds barred. They are just vomiting it as it is. How my child will come home, if I one day, I don't know, I'm not a makeup-y somebody. So that's why one day I had to go speak somewhere. And of course, I had done the light makeup I knew how to do. Lipstick, on fleek, everything. Then I went to do school runs. I went to pick my child. After the speak, I went to do school runs. That's why my son looked at me and said, Mommy, you've rubbed your lipstick like Mrs. He called his teacher's name. And I was like, does she rub this color? I thought it's usually, he said, yes, she rubs this color most of the time. Then she rubs the other color that I mentioned sometimes. And I'm like, really? I said, so do you like it? He said, it suits you, but maybe if we go home, let's try the red one on you too. And let's see, do you have color red? I said, yes, I have color red. And then we're having that conversation back and forth. And really, when we get home, he's on my case. Bring it out now, Mommy, you're not rubbing it. I want to see you. I say, but can we change first? Can we? You say, okay, after we change, then we'll come back. And he won't let me be. And at that point, you're just tempted to say, see, guy, just free me. Free me. I just want to sit down for a bit and get myself. But the child wants what the child wants at that point. So you are obliging and all of that. Today, talking about this grown human being, and it's not so grown, it's a teenager, you will still hear him. When I come to pick up from school, he'll be like, I like the color of your hair. And I'm like, really, you like this color? I didn't like it when they use this color. I'm like, I didn't like it. Say, no, it suits you. It's very lovely and it's different. I like it. I like it. Don't listen to it. I like it. And we're still having that kind of conversation, back and forth, going back and forth. And that's what communication should be. Even something deeper. We have more deeper conversations. But that's what it should be more of. So let's open the channels of conversation. And one of the trickiest way to do this and the fastest way to do this, I share with parents most time and I say, see, we are busy people, whether we like it or no. We are busy. Even if we are not busy, we just want our us time. We just want to be by ourselves sometimes. But in every day, ensure that with each child that you have, God help you if you have more than 5, but with each child you have, you should put down at least 5 to 15 minutes aside for each child to spend one-on-one time with that child. For some of the children, you already know what they would love to do with you, but it doesn't hurt to ask. Ask the child, what do you want to do with mommy today or with daddy today that will make you feel loved and attended to? For in my own case, I want to know a day before so I can factor it into my daily activity for the next day. Yes. So I want to know a day before. When we come that day, when it's now that day, it can change. But it should be something that I can do within the time that I have allotted to be with that child. So it can be anything. I've been working on something. on my laptop. So can I show you? I would like to show you what I've been working on. Say, okay, no problem. And I'll tell them, okay, tomorrow by 3:30, I'll be with you. It's not as if we're not gisting throughout the whole day. We might still be gisting and talking.
But for that particular thing.
Yes, this helps me ensure that there is nothing lacking for this child. You are, with all the things I am doing and the ways that I think I am showing you love, you still feel loved. When I do this with you, it will make you feel loved. Then yes, we will bank on it. You know, so for every one of us, I'm not saying do community service. So it's not the whole children together. That one is totally different. This is one-on-one with each child that we have. So zone in on that child, spend time with that child. While you are spending time, you are picking the child's brain. You are listening, you are learning, you are teaching. That's a wonderful way to communicate with your children. And in that place where you are both relaxed, feeling loved, guess what else is being transferred? Many more other things that you want to let the child know. It's being transferred at that point because the child is relaxed, the child feels loved. So when you are passing across that teaching, that child is learning it from a place of love, not from a place of judgment. And that teaching will be taken wholesomely. In fact, it has transformed my own parenting journey, I will say. So that's something that we want to do. Then in communication, we also have active listening. We want to listen to what the child says and what the child does not say. So you want to listen. I prepared a worksheet once for an event I had. And when I asked, okay, how many of you know what your child sounds like when your child is excited? What body language do you see when your child is excited? When your child is angry, what do you see when your child is angry? Because sometimes we don't even know. And when they are older, they know how to keep these emotions. So you're not even catching that. You're not catching that something is off. You just hear how are you doing? Fine, and that's it. We're not going deeper to really know how to say, that's fine. That fine does not sound like you. What's the matter? So even when I'm busy chopping tomato, I'm not even making eye contact. It's just the mommy, good morning. I'm like, what happened? What's the matter? There's no hugging. Why are you not hugging me? Why are you not? What's going on? You know, you stop what you are doing and you pay attention to the child. Because I heard something. The good morning I heard, it did not gel. That's not the one I usually hear. The I'm fine that I hear, that is not what I usually hear. So we want to hear. Parents will say, but I'm there with them. No, be there, be present. Drop devices, drop everything that is distracting you. Focus on the child. Listen, and then be their safe place. Be their comfort place. Be the place where they can be themselves. Be that person that they can always run back to at any point in time. So when you have conversations like, when this happened, why didn't you tell me about it? And then you will hear something like, I just felt that you will be upset, or you will be this, you will be that. You will hear it firsthand from them. They will tell you what your flaws are. So we want to listen to what those flaws are as they are saying it and work on it so that child can always come back to us instead of running to God knows who when they are in danger. You find out that when they are older, it's you. They want to be with you. They want to spend time with you. They want to gist with you. You are their person, even at that time that they are older.
Wow. So Coach Nwa is telling us that communicate. And communicating is not just dishing out instructions or just speaking and just leaving your instructions where you left them. You also have to listen in proper communication with our children. We need to hear what they are saying, get their feedbacks. You know, when you know that the only way you can know something is off is it means that you have been paying attention. So what are we paying attention to? And that every child is different and unique. So we must find and create that time for each child beyond just the general, assembly for everybody. Every child needs their own every child needs their own time, with you as a parent, both father and mother. Wow, I'm sure my listeners are like, this Coach Nwa, she has given us one tall order. And Coach Nwa says she knows that we are busy. Oh, she knows how busy we are. She that is talking, she's very busy. That's why I jumped at it when she agreed to come to At Home with her. She's very, very busy. But she's saying that you just have to make out that time. If we know that our children are important to us, then we must create that time to listen and teach in love, not shouting, not judging them. There was something she said earlier when she said, you have lived 40, 50 years and you are still on that your journey. Why do you expect children that are not even half your age to get it all right? To, not to make mistakes or not to come to you and tell you how they feel. So for us to have that lifelong communication, we must start when they are young. That's the summary of all we have been saying. We must, if you want them to talk to you when they have left your house and started their homes, because Coach Nwa, many adults today are not in good terms with their parents. Many of us. And sometimes it looks like they can't really pinpoint the reason why they are not, in that cordial relationship with their elderly parents. But it just tells us that these are things that have happened in our childhood, when we felt we were not loved, when we felt we were not heard. So it now looks strange to be close to somebody that you never had that connection with as you were growing up. So please, parents, let's not lose our children. Parenting doesn't end when your children leave your house. It continues until our time here on earth is up. So let's build those strong connections right from their young age and continue, give room for expression of how they feel, and then use those opportunities to teach in love, knowing fully well that we as parents are also on our journey. Thank you so much. So I would like to give Coach Nwa this time for her to talk about what she does online. I know, or I have read from her bio, that she usually runs a yearly program for parents, bridging the gap, parents between children, or I don't know if that's for parents or children, but she runs 2 programs.
It's for both of them.
Oh, okay, so both parents and children. And she also has another program tagged Parenting Like a Coach. So Coach Nwa, I want you to share with us your online presence, your social media handles. Just share with our listeners much about the work you do online. So this is time to sell your market, like some people will say.
Let me sell my market.
So please, the floor is open to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone who has listened up to this point. I am a life coach and a psychotherapist. So we simply say I'm an integrative practitioner. So I have a bias for parenting, even though I can work with anybody and anyone, but I have a serious bias for parenting. So I run this yearly program, Parenting Like a Coach. I actually run twice in a year. So I've had the first one, and the next one usually holds in December, in the month of December. Bridging the gap, what it does is to bridge the gap that exists between us and our children. So where we have collated over time questions from our children and from some of the parents, and we're going to be questioning the parents or asking the parents, why do you do this? So most times I have a panel of children and a panel of adults, and people join virtually, and they can type in, send in any way they want. And we just go back and forth, and it's a teaching moment. So we're picking the children's brain. When you do this thing, you do what exactly are you thinking of? So they address, but respectfully, the children also question the parents, and the parents also question the children. We get responses. My duty there is just to give a framework and ensure that we are passing the right knowledge across at every point in time. So that's what Bridging the Gap does. But this time around, I wasn't able to put it together excuse me, nicely. So I simply said, okay, instead of doing that major event, let's just do a visualization event for our children to prepare them to create the year or the school year that they would love to have. We are co-creators with our Father. So he has given us and empowered us that same thing. So the creating gifts. So we have it in us. So it's to put it to use and to be able to find out what didn't work in last academic year. What didn't I like? What would I prefer it to have been? So we're going to be, and what more do I want? So let's see it. We want them to see it, create it in their mind, and then we will begin to fashion steps on how to get there. So, but that particular event is just to do the visualization with them, walk them through with their parents with them, and ensuring that they are doing and taking the necessary steps that they need to take. And when they've been able to paint a picture at the end of the day, filling in their notebooks or whatever it is that they have to write with, at that point, then if the parent need me to work with them to achieve it, then that would be something totally different. But that event will just be for us to create our year. Let's create this new academic year for our children so that they can be exceptional and become all it is that they desire to be. So what else do? I help. I work with parents, like I've said before, and I work with anybody. I'm a life coach, I'm a psychotherapist. So you need a mind, your mental health. I'm very passionate about mental health. I'm very passionate about God and the love of God. So most times what I teach on is actually entwined in the Word of God. But depending on who my audience is or who my client is, then I know just the right words to speak. But then yet I'm speaking scriptures at different points. So that's basically it. And
your social media handles.
Media,
yes.
Yeah, on social media, Nwadiuto chats. Okay. That's on Instagram. And I think it's the same thing on Facebook.
Okay. I'll put it in the show notes so they will see it, and I believe 1 or 2 people should be able to connect with you. Thank you for telling us more about the work you do, and we want to use this opportunity to say thank you for sharing all that you have shared so far. You are not gone yet. You are going to still round off our episode before we call it a day. So we just want to say thank you, and I just want to remind our listeners, follow us on Instagram at Ifeno17. If you have questions you would like to ask, send your mail, your email to athomewithifeno@gmail.com, and we'll gladly respond to you as soon as we get your mail. So in closing, Coach Nwa, we've heard so much about parenting. In fact, I always say that I'm the first student when I call my guests because I will take notes and I have to go back and realign. I really want that connection with my children. I really, really want that connection. I have a son that is almost a teenager, and I've started seeing the changes. He wants to be on his own at times. At the beginning, I was like, what is it? What's the problem? I was saying, Mommy, there's nothing. And then this same person that at times he keeps to himself. So you see him suddenly just ask you, so Mommy, have you eaten? And when I tell him, don't worry about me, he say, he has to worry about me. He said he has to worry about me. And when he says that, I just look up and look at his face. So it's really interesting because we just have to be open-hearted so that we don't lose our children to the wrong audience with all that is going on in our world today. So in closing, Coach Nwa, there is no perfect parent. I just use myself that even me too, I'm learning. And you have said you are also learning, or a particular parenting style. But there's always room for improvement. What will be your 3 nuggets or 3 things that, even if nobody heard what you said at the beginning, in closing, what will be those 3 things that will help us as parents in our parenting journey?
Wow. Okay. I'll say, number 1, I will say quality time. Quality time. Make out time. Make out time. Parenting is time. Really. So let's learn to make out quality time, prioritize it, and engage meaningfully with the child. So give quality time to engage meaningfully with your children. Then number 2, I would say love and patience. Have it in multiple doses. Take it, swallow it. If there's a pill to swallow called patience, take 1 tablet morning, afternoon, and night. Take the pill called love and patience, so that everything you're doing is from a place of love and a willingness to accept them. You are not judging them, but we're accepting them for who they are and the seemingly flaws that the seemingly, flaws in quotes that they might have. Then keep teaching. Keep teaching and keep asking questions. Asking questions help them to think, and then they will begin to learn how to make the right decisions and how to be responsible. So you want to keep teaching your values, keep passing it down, and keep asking them questions. You are empowering the child. These are the 3 major tips, even though it sounds like 6 right now, that I will share.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you for your time. Quality time.
Thank you.
Me, I'm going to take that pill of love and patience 3 times a day. Especially the patience part. That patience. I think I hope I will not do overdose of taking 2 tablets 3 times a day.
There's no overdose. Even me right now, I still take it. Even me, I still take that pill called patience.
It is well. And then the 3rd one Coach Nwa said is we should keep teaching. Keep teaching. Let's not get tired. My mom always says this. So my mom that is in her 70s was telling me that don't get tired. When I tell her about my children, she'll say, don't get tired, though. Keep talking, keep teaching them, and Coach Nwa said we should keep asking questions. One thing I know in this part of the world we don't like people asking us questions. When you ask maybe a handyman, someone working in your house, okay, why did this thing get spoiled or bad? Many of them look at me like, what is this? What be this woman wahala? I came to repair something. You are asking me why the thing spoiled. And then I tell them, I say, I want to know why, so that it's either I know how to handle it better. It's either, I just want to know why. But people find it difficult to accept you asking questions.
Permit me to chip in there. Please, when I say asking of questions, I forgot to ask. Don't start your questions with why. Because why sounds as though we are judging them. So they will bring up their walls immediately. Anyone that is being judged will be defensive.
Including
so when
the
you
workers.
Just bring up the why, including anybody, is a natural instinct. It's a natural, yes, it just happens naturally. So once you just say, why did this, is as if it's your fault. You are the cause of this thing, and then the person will be like, what? So it makes them feel as though they are judged. So we avoid using the word why. So in that scenario now, you want to say, can you share with me possible reasons why, even though it's a mouthful, yeah? But you say, can you share with me possible reasons why you think this thing failed? Or why, can you share with me why? So you started, can you share with me why? So now you are coming from a place of, I want to know. Or you say, educate. I use so much, especially with workers, I say, please educate me. Every time this thing is spoiling, educate me on how to properly do it, or how, or the reason why it keeps happening. So they know that, okay, madam, it's because this, and that. They go all out, and I'm just sitting there, listening. The father will now say, or is it also the material that is used? Whether the one you brought the last time, it was not a great material. I say, and that one to follow. You were complaining about the price. I say, okay, let's buy the good one. So I'm trying to let you know to pay you too. You went to buy something that's substandard. But the way I've gone about it now, you've received it nicely. So that is also a way to go about that too.
Thank you so much, Coach Nwa. In fact, this one you said about the way to ask questions, so that they are not thinking. Sometimes I think they also think is she questioning my expertise or my professionalism? This one she's asking and asking, you know. So is knowing how to ask questions, and the same applies to our children. We need to know how we ask them questions so that they don't bring up their walls and push us out. Okay, thank you so much, Ma. We hope when we call you again, you'll be willing and available to share more of your wisdom and all that God has endowed you with. We are really grateful and look forward to having you again. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Anytime. The pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much. God bless you too, Ma. Well done for the job you're doing. Well done. God bless you plenty.
Thank you, Ma.
Thank you too.
Thanks for joining us this week on At Home with Ifeno. Check us out on Instagram at Ifeno17. As always, subscribe to the show to catch every new episode and leave us a review so we can continue to bring you fresh content. See you next in 2 weeks' time.